Hi everyone, welcome back to Stationeers. Okay, this one is going to be a little bit of a longer one because I've got a few things that I want to go through on this one. Hopefully it won't be too much information, but we're going to look at power and then we're going to go through some quality of life stuff. Because we're at a point now where we shouldn't really be struggling for power this much. That's on me because obviously I've been going through everything a little bit slower than I normally would. Power is suffering. So we're going to get that sorted out today. So if you remember, we've got our wind turbines up here. We have a single flat solar panel and we're just feeding that down into the base. And in the last one, I removed the frame from here so that we've got some room for our batteries. Now we are going to move this so it's on the wall, but we're also going to make some improvements. We are going to start looking at using a different type of cable. So if I get copper, stick that in my electronics printer, and search for cable, we can see we've got a heavy cable. And I'm going to get some of that printed. Excuse me. There's only two types of cable. The normal cable that we're using throughout our base at the moment, and the heavy cable. Both work exactly the same, apart from the basic cable can only transmit up to 5 kilowatts before the pipe will basically break. The heavy cable can handle up to 100 kilowatts, a lot more power. When the storm comes, depending on how many turbines you have placed, you could potentially generate enough power and request that power. Now, I'm going to put a card in the top right corner, hopefully if it's working, just to take you back to the power tutorial that I did with my wife, where I was showing her the basics of it, and I kind of go through it in a bit more detail there. But long story short, on your power generation, you really need to be using heavy cable here, because it's if we get a storm, I can almost guarantee that we're gonna burn this cable out. Because the way it works is you have power generation, which is kind of like the power that you can pull. If your devices are capable to pull more than what the cable can hold, and the generation can provide that power, then you will overload the cable. And it's not a might, it's a you will overload the cable. So we're going to look at replacing the cable with this, just to give us a bit more redundancy really in place. So when we do this, we are going to temporarily lose power to the base. So I'm going to just give us a little bit of a jump and put some more coal in there, just to keep us going. There's a few other things we're going to look at today as well. So as I mentioned, we're going to look at some quality of life improvements. We're also going to look at some upgrades from our printers so that we can unlock additional crafting recipes. I'm going to print out one more cable. There we go. The reason that one more bit of cable mattered is because if you have a look, I currently have 29 grams of gold and 41 grams of copper. The cables use 0.5 gram. So if I make one more cable, you can now see that we currently have 28.5 grams of gold and 40.5 grams of copper. But you can't eject half a gram of an ingot. If I was to pull this lever to get the ingots out, I would lose that 0.5. The game would only give me 28 grams of gold. So I would lose 0.5 gold, 0.5 copper. So it's always good practice, specifically when you're making cables, but there are other items such as iron sheets and whatnot. Just try not to leave any 0.5s in your printers. Right. Once that generator has stopped, which it has, we're going to rip out this cable. So let's turn off the generator. And if we look down there, that's where our APC is. So I am going to remove this cable completely. So you've got the wire cutters in one hand and the cable in the other. And I'm just going to strip it all out. whilst I'm doing this, my base is solely running on that APC. So you kind of want to do this as quickly as possible. But I'm just replacing the cable with my heavy cable. Going to go in exactly the same place. Work exactly the same. Apart from it now allows us to transmit more power across the network than what we would have done before. There we go. That's all connected. And then what we'll do is we'll bring it back down in line with the APC, which was about there. So we'll bring that across and get that connected into there like that. We're going to also connect our generator back in. Like so. And then just check on the inside that we've got it connected to where the APC is going to be. Now, it would be connected. However, we're not keeping our APC there. So I'm going to get rid of that cable. And I'm just going to make sure that's all connected all together up there. So you can see our generator's connected to this line. And that's all absolutely fine. But we're not currently generating any power. Let's remove this cable. Like so. And let's just take these batteries out and take down the charger and the APC using the drill. Okie dokie. Let's get rid of that piece of cable. So from last time, we have these large batteries. Now, if we look at batteries, they require 2 steel sheets and a screwdriver to be made. I've made a bit of a mistake here. I don't have any power now connected to provide me with any steel sheets. If I try and do this, I can't get anything out. So what we're going to have to do is just plug in our APC somewhere temporarily just to get power back into the base. Just enough so that we can print off some of the steel sheets. And we're also going to probably need some more cable. So that is there temporarily. There's my stuff. So we're going to stick that in there. Make me some steel sheets. And whilst I'm waiting for the steel sheets, we're also going to get... Whoops. We're also going to get some more cable coils. So let's go for some more of those. And we're going to want 2 steel sheets per battery. So I only need 6. There we go. Turn my light on. I can't turn my light on because I have no power. That's great. Oh, yep. This is going well. That's fine. I'm going to take my battery out of my APC. Currently, we have no power here. I've also got 0.5 in the printer. Let's not worry about that right now. So, I'm just going to... Well, I don't want to close that. I want to take that down. So get the drill. Do that. And let's get these batteries put in place. So my wire cutters are on the floor. So obviously we don't need that anymore. So I'm going to just remove this cable. We do not need that furnace. We'll put it somewhere else as a backup, but it doesn't have to go there. Get your kit batteries. And very simply, you need to place them. So now if you have a look, you've got the import slot, which is, well, there's one port on this back, which is the power input. And then you've got a power output and a logic port on the other side. I want to rotate this so that the power input is on the back. If I weld this up and then use the screwdriver, you will see that there is a switch there on the right hand side. So we need to make sure when we're placing these batteries that we do not cover that switch, because I can place it there, but by doing that I cannot get to the power button because the other battery will be in the way. So give them at least one bit of space. Get my welding torch and get this one built. Screwdriver. And then I've got a third battery, which is here. Now, you cannot place batteries just floating. They have to be on a frame somewhere. But I don't want that. I want to put it here. Yes, it doesn't really help with like realism. It's floating. But it's going to allow me just to store additional batteries in this small space. So let's throw realism out the window. And let me show you how you do this. Get a frame. It can be an iron frame or a steel frame. And what you're going to need to do is place it in this corner. I'm going to get rid of these 2 walls, well, 3 walls, because you can't place a frame where you've already placed a wall. Let's grind these out. And we're going to get our frame and place the frame in that corner. You don't need to weld it. You can now, certain devices that require a frame support will now allow you to place them in the frame. Is this a bit cheesy? Yes, it is. But it's going to help us. So we're just going to do it anyway. This is just my choice. You're not forced to do this. But I'm just going to place that battery there. I'm going to get the welder. And the screwdriver. There we go. We have a very nice floaty battery. We can now take our grinder. Remove the frame. And it will just stay there. Okay? Like I said, not realistic. But if the game lets you do it, take it. I'm then going to connect this cable, which is our power production cable, into the back of one of these batteries. Now, we'll see if I have enough cable for this. I don't know if I do. I'm going to be short 1 cable. I'm going to show you a little trick. Now, this is, in my case, cheating. I think this is cheating. It's something that I used to do. I don't really do it anymore. If you are short a cable and you're new, obviously no one is going to arrest you for doing what I'm about to do. But with 2 cables in your hand, no more, no less, place a corner cable like this. Okay, in the mid, just floating. Next, get your second cable, do it as a straight, and place it in position like this. Okay, so what will happen is the straight is going to be in the same cube as the corner. Place that cable. You now have a 4-way junction that is on the corner. You take that cable out, the game gives you 3 cables. Okay, you have made a cable out of nothing. And now I can very simply just place these like this. Done. Yes, that is cheesy. 100%. But as a new player, if you just want that little bit of help, little things like that exist in the game that you can obviously use to your advantage. Yes, one day the developers may remove that out. Yes, some people would frown upon that. Me personally, I don't use it on loads of cables. It would be difficult to do it on a lot of cables. Just for hit one here or there, absolutely, I don't see a problem with somebody new to the game doing that. Absolutely fine. But just showing you that little tip there in case you need it. I turned on the battery using the switch on the right hand side, and now you can see the light flashing red, which means it has a very little charge in it. But we can now connect the output of this battery to our base. And there you go, look, our light is green again. We can turn our printers on, we have power. But we've got 3 of these batteries, so we want to get all 3 of them connected. So I'm going to run this cable down. And then we're going to come across, connect all to there. Again, we're improving this power system, but even what I'm doing here can be improved. We don't currently have safety on this cable, but later down the line we will implement that. For now, we're not going to worry too much about it. What I am going to do is I need to print out some more heavy cables so I can get power input to both of these guys. So we're probably going to need about 6 or 7 heavy cables. I've got 3 there. So let's see. Oh, I don't have enough power for that to produce any more to me, which is a shame. But let's see if we can get this bottom battery connected. Oh, no. I thought I had 4 there. Apparently I only had 2. But that doesn't matter. That's fine. I'm going to connect the APC back in temporarily, just to get a little bit of juice. So we have this battery with not a lot of power, actually 0 power in it, so that's not very good. What we can do is we will borrow a battery out of our labeler. Your tools have batteries in them, so if you have to in a pinch, just borrow one of the batteries. Place it wherever you need it, and that will keep our base going for a small amount of time. Now that isn't letting, that's erroring, but if I place a cable there, now it's not. That still isn't powering my electronics printer though. Oh, because I haven't connected the output. Stupid person. Get my cable and just get that connected. There we go. Make me some more heavy cables, please. We only need about another, what did I say? I said 6, we placed 2, so let's go for 4. We're going to go for 5 just so we round down the 0.5. And we're going to get these placed into the batteries so that they can all start gathering a little bit of charge. And we're dead again because we completely drained that small battery. Let's put another one in. Make me those cables, please. Come on, I just want 3 more. That's 1. That small battery is not going to last very long. 51%. That's 3. Is that going to be enough? Let's turn you off for a second. And we can run this cable down here. 1, 2. Whoops. And 3. What you may have just seen there is I kind of moved these windows. So if we press number 1, obviously we've got our helmet. Number 3 is our suit. Number 4 is our backpack. If you want to, you can drag this window anywhere on your screen. If you want to put it back, just press this little icon next to the X and it will put it back where it should be by default. Sometimes you have an issue where some of these will just not appear. Because if you've moved it around, sometimes the game might get a little bit confused. And even though you're pressing 3, it won't appear on screen. If that happens, go into your menu, go to Settings, and click on Reset Windows. That will put all the windows back into their original places. So if they've appeared off the screen, you'll be able to see them again. We have now set up our batteries. This APC is obviously no good to us, so we're going to move that. And we're going to tidy up these cables. There we go. Now, the APC I would say is still required because we still want a place to charge our batteries. So I'm going to get my wire cutters. And I'm going to just place the APC here. That is upside down. We can't be having that right now. So let's replace it. And make sure you've got your input from your batteries, output to your base. Get my crowbar. And put my battery inside. Turn the APC on. We can see there that the APC is completely dead. The only thing that we have on is this airlock. And the weather station. If we want to save some power. Let's turn the airlock off. We're not going in there yet, so let's just save the power. The same goes for the weather station. If we don't need it right now, just let's get rid of that. If you don't need it, just turn it off. And that will just allow power to kind of stay where it's needed in the rest of your base. But we've obviously got a massive issue here. We are really struggling. So I'm going to go and just find some coal. Actually, I'm not, because I just remembered something. When you started, you will have started with one of these power crates. This one, the portable generator package. If we take out all the items, you have an insulated canister package, a portable generator, and a power connector. This is, personally, I see it as a one-time use thing. I won't use it afterwards. But what you can do with this is you can place it pretty much anywhere. So we're going to place it on the input of our batteries. So I'm just going to put it there because apparently it can float. And then get the portable generator. Hold right click and that will deploy it. This portable generator is basically it's similar to your solid fuel generator, apart from this one uses fuel. So if I grab it by its handle, place it on that connector, so kind of sit it on it. Obviously I've put it in a bit of a stupid place, but there you go. And then what you want to do is you want to get your wrench and just wrench it down. Turn it on. And then the insulated canister package, hold right click. You have a canister of fuel. Take that canister and place that into the generator. At the moment, I'm going to make sure this generator is off because I haven't connected it up yet. I don't want to waste it. Place the canister in there. The gauge on the front will show you that you've got pressure in there. You have a battery port here, so you could place a battery there to charge it, but we're not going to do that. What we are going to do is we're going to borrow some heavy cable from up here, because we can't print any off right now. And we're going to connect this generator to our power input. Okay, once you've got that connected, turn it on. That will now use fuel and provide power. That is it. There's nothing special or magic or anything there. That will just work. These batteries will slowly start gaining charge. At the moment, what's happening is this APC is taking the charge as quickly as we're making it. So until this fills up, these batteries will not, well, will not fill up. But you can see there we're currently on 19%. Now, our weather station is turned off. Let's go and turn that back on, because I want to be ready for the storm whenever it comes. We're currently on day 9, so I think setting the game to easy means you get longer between storms, so you've got a very long time to plan for all of this. Let's tidy up a little bit and let's put our battery charger down. I'm going to place this between the batteries here. No real reason, to be honest. It's just a place where I'm going to put it. Turn it on. Place your batteries inside. There we go. Power should be okay for a little while now, but we can't be too complacent. This fuel is not going to last forever. Once that runs out, we're back to where we were, square one. So we need to increase our power production. Before I do that, I'm going to put the walls back in. Like so. And we're going to put our iron sheets in. I can't see, so I'm going to take this battery out. There we go. And I need an iron sheet so that I can put that wall back together. That way now, when we close that door, we're completely isolated from the outside of Mars. This is still charging, so we'll let that do its thing. So, power. Now, the first thing you probably want to do is make some solar panels. And to be honest, it's something that we probably should have done before now. I'm trying to go through the absolute basics. We haven't died yet, so obviously we're not doing anything wrong. You play how you want to play. At the moment, I've kind of been playing on the edge of power, but I need to change that. So let's get some solar panels made, and we're going to go for these solar panels. Okay, if you've got the solar panel basic, which are flat panels, and they kind of are either at an angle or flat to the ground. These solar panels allow you to pivot and aim at the sun. So later on, you can do solar tracking, and these solar panels will just follow the sun. A very efficient way of power generation. For now, we're not going to jump straight into the coding. All we're going to do is make these panels so that we have them later. We can still point them up and start getting some power generation off them, but they're not going to be as optimized as they can be. Whilst we're waiting for the solar panels to be produced, I'm going to go into my greenhouse. In the top right hand corner, you can see we have a yellow triangle with the 89% against it. This is your waste tank warning. Now, your waste tank, if we have a look at it, contains CO2 and a trace amount of oxygen. Your waste tank can only hold, I think it's about 4 megapascal. Any higher than that and it will no longer fill and your character will pass out. There are larger canisters in the game called smart canisters, but if you use them in your waste tank slot, they are always capped out at 4 megapascal. I don't know why it's been done like that, but basically it doesn't matter what you put here. As soon as it hits 4 megapascal, you're done. So my advice would be, on any other planet, obviously you want to keep it because the CO2 is valuable. You use it for your plants. It's the only way you're going to be able to grow food. On Mars, not really that much of a concern because you have CO2 in the atmosphere. However, let's play as we mean to go on. We're going to come into our greenhouse. I'm going to click on my waste tank and I'm going to open it. Because it's such a low pressure in the room, the canister closes itself automatically. And now it is pretty much empty and it has given us a lot more time to worry about, well, other things. If I get my tablet out, we can see that this room now has a pressure of 4.9 kilopascals and 15.9 degrees Celsius. It is mostly CO2 with trace amounts of oxygen, nitrogen and pollutant. If it wasn't for the pollutant, I would say it's the perfect mix for greenhouse. The pollutant you've got isn't a load, so you could still use it, but no pollutant is always better than some pollutant. But what we're going to do for now is we're going to use this room as a bit of a dumping ground. Every time our waste tank gets full, we're going to pop into our greenhouse and we're going to open up our waste tank. And that will just keep us going for now. Let's head back outside. Now, as you can see, our APC is still charging. It's getting there, and these batteries in here are also charging. These still are nowhere near full, but it is what it is. The generator doesn't produce massive amounts of power, but it produces enough to keep us going. You can see we're down to 3.93 megapascal, so it's buying us time, but not a lot of it. Here we are, we've got 3 of these solar panels. Now, once I've made the next one, we're going to stop there, because there's something else that I want to make. I think it's in the electronics printer. Search for light, and you will see portable light as an option. This is a very good early game power saving tool. Let's get this made, and I'll show you what it is. I mean, the clue's in the name. It's a portable light. But if we have a look at your suit, and I can't remember if the Stationpedia tells you this. But if you have a look at the suit... it doesn't tell you. Okay, you're going to have to take my word for it. You can always check the Stationpedia wiki. The light on the suit, so this light that I'm pressing L, uses a lot more power than the portable light does. A lot more power. We will find that our suit batteries will last so much longer if we didn't have to use this light. So the portable light is a device that allows you can basically, like, obviously walk around with it. You can place it on the ground. So let me just get it printed. And there we go. If I press Q and then I click on one of the legs at the bottom, that will open and it becomes kind of like a standing up portable light. If I take a battery, I can place it in the top, and that is a light that lights your room. Okay, I don't need my suit light on at this point. Nobody really uses it like this. The purpose that most people are doing, well, The purpose for this is it is a very nice surrounding light. As you can see in my hand, it is lighting up where I'm walking. You can also place it in your jumpsuit and it's still lit up the area. So I don't need to use this anymore because I can already see. And that portable light lasts a hell of a lot longer, battery versus battery, as opposed to the suit. So that is a very good early game quality of life aim you should really be going for. Obviously it will eventually run out of power, but when it does, just replace the battery. We can see here that this APC is now full, so I'm going to actually replace that battery now and let that portable generator continue to fill our batteries. We are almost ready to set up. Well, we're almost ready for the storm. The only thing I want to do now is make a few more heavy cables. Because all I want to do is I want to replace this cable with heavy cable. And let me explain why. Like I said, these normal cables can handle up to 5 kilowatt of power. Now, a device will request however much power it needs in that moment. So for whatever reason, if this APC wanted to charge that battery, it would request the full amount of charge that battery can hold. If these batteries have that charge available, they will provide all of the power instantly. When that happens, there is a chance it's going to be over the limit of this cable. Now, there is something in the game called a transformer which we can use to try and limit that. But right now, we're not doing that. We're going to go for the APC. By using the heavy cable, it's still not impossible, but less likely that we're going to blow that cable. Less likely that we're going to hit the limit. So I'm going to just place this cable here. A way that I'm kind of getting used to playing. I don't know how I've ended up short on a cable there. Let me do that for now. The charge doesn't matter. The way I've started playing is, in an ideal world, you have your main power line or power lines going into your batteries. You then have a single line running through your base. Now, obviously here it's just here, but in an ideal world, it would be running it on the ceiling or on the floor. And then each room will pull off that cable. So you know you've got 100 kilowatts going through your base, or the potential of 100 kilowatts going through your base. And then each network itself obviously runs off the normal cables. And that's kind of how I've started playing. You don't have to do it that way. You do whatever the hell you want. But that is just... Excuse me. That is just my suggestion. I'm just going to get another couple of cables made. Because I want to get that battery connected. Sorry, that charger connected. And then I want us to go and put up these solar panels. So let's go for a handful of heavy cable, to be honest. So that's the charger there. Don't really know how many of these we're going to need. So let's do another 3. Just because we can. While I'm waiting, keep on top of my food and drink. And also, I'm going to put my mining charges in there because I'm probably not going to use them. Oh no, sorry, you can't put mining charges in a mining belt. You'd think I never played the game before. Okay, that will do for heavy cables. Let's go and place these solar panels. So, we have our wind turbines. And we're now about to have... Oh, I forgot I did not connect that wind turbine up. I should probably get some more cable. You know what? Let's go get loads more cables printing. And we'll just leave them going for a little bit. So, these solar panels. We're going to place them just somewhere over here. So, there's 2 variants. You can scroll and you've got the single port panel. or the dual port panel. It doesn't, power generation wise, doesn't matter which of these variants you use. All that determines is when you're going to automate the panels, it determines how you're going to do it. I have an IC code which we will use in a later episode, which basically accounts for both ports. It makes no difference whatsoever. I'm going to go for the single because it's less cable. And I'm going to place all 4 panels. There we go. These panels, if you look at them, require glass sheets to finish the construction. So they're a multi-build state item. Oh, I've left my cables going. Let's make one more to get rid of the 0.5. And that is done. Let's get some glass. Also, let me check on the weather station. Yep, still no storm, so we're good. And we are running out of fuel. Take your glass and simply hold left click on the solar panels, and that will complete the construction. There we go. We have 4 completed solar panels. The way these panels work is they have a horizontal setting and a vertical setting. The vertical setting will kind of move it like that. The vertical, so that is the sun's up and down position. The horizontal will spin the panel, so that is the horizontal position. So you've got vertical, horizontal, and in an ideal world, these panels will just always be facing the sun and doing their thing. But that's not an automatic thing. You have to code that, or you have to set up some chips in order to do that. Now, I'm not going to do that in this episode. I think we're going to try and set that up probably next time. We're not rushing into it. I've got other things that I want to do. But what we'll do is we'll set these to 90. And we'll just leave them there for now. Once we know where the sun is, we'll reposition them. Now, I'm going to apologize to anyone who isn't a new player. Obviously, we're going very slow, and you're probably thinking, oh, just shoot. Well, you might be thinking, show me how you do that now. Like I said, the point of this tutorial series is to go really slow for brand new players. I'm not rushing into anything. There's no need. As you can see, we're not rushing, and we're still alive. We've still got everything that we need. Yes, power has been a little bit difficult, but it hasn't stopped us from playing. We've still been able to continue, and we are still going. So one step at a time. Let's get some of the basic stuff set up, and then we will get into some more of the advanced nitty-gritty. My concern with showing people the coding or the setup of the solar panels is that for a new player, unless you're comfortable with the raw concept of the game, looking at something like that could potentially put you off the game. And that's not fair for the new player because they don't get to experience the game. It's not fair on the game because one thing like that should not deter a person from playing. There is fun to be had with that kind of thing, but I think for someone who's never touched logic, who's never touched that kind of coding or automation aspect of anything, I don't think it's something you want to just jump into. Just my opinion. Others may agree, others may disagree, but that's what we're doing. But there we go. We've got 4 solar panels. The solar panels, both these ones and these ones, can generate up to a maximum of 500 watts of power. And that is assuming that the efficiency is 100%. That means the solar panel has to be pointing directly, perfectly at the sun. You're never going to get 100% efficiency on one of these. Never. These ones, because the sun is always moving, it's probably going to be more along the lines of 98, 99, occasionally 100%, but it will never be perfect. But you don't need perfect, you just need enough. When the sun comes up, we'll do some manual solar tracking on them. So, we've got our batteries, we've got our APC, we have our portable generator that, in all honesty, is going to run out of power at some point soon. But we will be able to keep that going temporarily. What's next? Let's revisit the printers. There are other things that we can make that are quality of life improvements. So a couple of things that I would want to make is, number one, I want to make a better welder. Okay, the welder that we've got currently off gases into the atmosphere that you stood in, and it's hot and it's pollutant. You don't want it in your base. So the welder that we currently have, eventually we will stop using. I mean, we're going to run out of fuel at some point anyway, but yeah, we don't want this to be a forever welder. So that is one thing we're going to have to make. But you can see here, requires a tool manufacturer, plus requires alloys that we haven't even made yet. So that is something. Next, I want to make bigger belts. If we look at the tool belt Mark II, again, that is made of the tool manufacturer. I don't know where the recipe for it is. It doesn't tell me the recipe. That's weird. Interesting. I never really noticed that before. We've also got the mining belt Mark II. Again, doesn't give me the recipe, but made in the tool manufacturer Tier 2. When you see a printer that says Tier 2, that is the upgraded version of that printer. If we go and have a look at the electronics printer and search for mod, you will see the electronic printer mod. But you will see that this also requires alloys that we haven't encountered. So we are obviously now locked behind creating these alloys. So that's what we're going to do. Press F1 to go into your Stationpedia. Go to the home button. Go to ingots. You have 3 types of ingot. You've got your basic ingots, your alloys, and your super alloys. Super alloys are really only used for optional things. They aren't actually required for you to progress in the game, but they are going to allow you to build bigger, better items. For example, we've built a battery. We built 3 base batteries. If you wanted a bigger battery, you would need super alloys. There are other things like that in the game. I can't think of them. Oh, solar panels. So we can build basic solar panels and the standard solar panels. But there is a hard version of the solar panels that requires super alloy. Again, optional. You don't have to go that far. All you need to do is just have plenty of power generation. It's not needed. The same cannot be said for alloys. Alloys are going to be required for you to produce pretty much most items you're going to need in the game. There's no getting past it. You're going to need to make alloys. Now, they aren't difficult, specifically on a planet where you have access to the ices. You just need to be a little bit clever when it comes to cooling the furnace down. And by clever, I mean cheesy. But I'll show you. There are 5 types of alloy, and we've already made steel. So we've already got that one ticked off. We're going to go through these other 4. We're probably not going to touch on them all today, because some of them are harder than others. But for now, we're going to just look at the ones that we need for the mod. So, we look at the mod again. We need electrum, constantan, and solder. We need steel, we've already got that one. So we need 3 of the 4, which works for us because Invar is probably the more difficult one to make out of the 4. But we don't worry about Invar. If you have a look at constantan, we can see we need a temperature of at least 1 kilokelvin to 100 kilokelvin and a minimum pressure of 20 MPa. If you look at electrum, much colder. 600k, obviously up to 100 kk, but a pressure between 800 kilopascal and 2.4 megapascal. Lastly, solder. The coldest of all the ingots, probably the most easiest one to make on Mars. The pressure is also pretty easy to get to. Very, very easy ingot to make, solder. The biggest problem with this is finding the bloody lead. So, long story short, we're going to need to go and do some mining. Now, we've got our pneumatic drill with plenty of canister gas in it. And we can see that we're going to need iron and lead. Well, we have iron, so I'm not concerned about that. For the electrum, we need gold and silver. For constantan, we need copper and nickel. So the ores that we're after that we haven't got yet are nickel, silver, and lead. Yes, I paused for a second there because I couldn't remember. Before I go out looking for that, our generators ran out of fuel. I'm going to go and take the canister because if you recall, we have a fuel canister in our greenhouse. So let's go and fuel this up and keep our power going for a little bit longer. You fill it the same as you do with the oxygen. You can either drag it in or you can just place it. There we go. Now we'll go back out to our generator and we'll just stick this in. And this will keep us going for quite a while. I should have touched on this earlier in the playthrough, I think, but didn't need it. And now we're a bit more comfortable and we've got it. It's just making us even more comfortable. So yeah, I'm not too worried that we're really covering it now. So, daylights are coming. So once it comes up, we'll go looking for the ores. But I want to get these solar panels somewhat adjusted, at least into some kind of stationary position where we're going to get sun at all times of the day. Now, I'm just going to go up with my jetpack, see if I can figure out where the sun is rising from. It looks like it's going to rise from over there. So that is going to be our morning sun. So, I'm going to bring this down. And I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. I'm also going to do the same with this one. But I'm not going to rotate it as much. Let's do that. And then we'll do the same with that one. But we might leave that one up. And then this one, we'll have it go the other way. But not all the way, because I think it's going to set in that direction over there. The hope is that these solar panels will produce me a bit of power throughout the day. It's more than what we were getting before. They're just in random positions, to be honest. But we can always come up here and adjust them if we need to manually. So just to cover that, I use the wrench. Use these little panels at the bottom for the horizontal, which will spin it around. And then use these two markers at the top to adjust the kind of the angle at which it's facing. If we really wanted to maximize our power, I could have them all facing the sun, the morning sun. To be fair, I'm not sure why I didn't do that in the first place, but there you go. And we'll bring you down a little bit. There we go. So you can see they all have different efficiencies. It's just because of the angle that they're at. But you can see we're now producing power, well, much better than what we were before. We will come back and adjust those in a second. Let's see if we can find some of those ores that we need. Now it looks like we've got lead straight on our doorstep. Let's grab this. Ideally, I'm looking for about a stack of this stuff. Because... oh, we've got loads. Oh, I forget it's on easy. Playing on easy, you're going to get a lot more ore per nugget found as opposed to the other difficulties. I forget how easy this is. So you guys have got it bliss. Seriously, you have. So that is going to put me well over the amount I wanted. But I'm just going to mine a little bit more. It doesn't hurt to have more than you need. Because you can almost guarantee that the ingot that you don't get loads of will be the ingot you're looking for later. I'll leave it at that. 5 stacks of lead. Perfect. Now that I've got my lead, let me go and adjust my solar panels. Oh, look at that. What does that yellow light mean? It means storms are coming. I'm not even going to worry about the solar panels because at this point the storm's going to come and completely fill us up. What I would like to do is try and get some more of these alloys ready for the storm. That's my reagent from episode 2. Wow, that's going back in time. They were the days. Let's grab some silver. So this is going to be for the electrum. Again, at least a stack is required. Well, wanted, I should say. You can create any amount of ingot you want as long as you've got the ratios correct. If you wanted to make a single piece of electrum, just make sure you've got at least 1 silver and 1 gold. and that will produce that. But you kind of want to produce them in bulk because there is some work involved in getting them. But I think that's going to be all of our silver, so that will do. Now we want nickel. And I don't know why, but nickel seems to be the one ore that always takes me a while to find. But then you can almost guarantee when you don't want it, it'll be bloody everywhere. But the trick is, just persevere with it. You will find it, just keep looking. There's been times when I've wondered whether it's just not spawned on the planet. But as long as you continue to look, you will find some. Come on, a stack of nickel. You can do it. Boom, we got our stack. So we'll be able to make at least a stack of each of the alloys. The more of this nickel I can get, the better. Oh yes, that's 2 stacks. Are you going to give us a third? Come on, spoil us. Oh, oh, oh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. And you know what? It's not going to give us any more. Oh, it is. Oh, you're making me jealous now. Yeah, it's getting weird. Right, that'll do. Alright, I'm going to head back. And what I am going to do as well is I'm going to just grab some of this coal. Let me free up some space. Put my crowbar in there. Put my wrench in there. That way I can put nickel there, nickel there. We've got coal. Because coal, we're not going to use coal for power anymore. I don't think we're going to need to. We have the option, but we should be in a pretty safe place now. But what you've noticed is that each of the alloys have something in common. They all use a standard ingot combined with a second ingot. All of them. So, obviously, iron is iron, but you mix iron with something else, and you get something else. Same with gold. Gold is gold. Mix it with silver, you get electrum. So you don't combine any of the basic ingots with any of the other basic ingots. Not for an alloy, anyway. Super alloys are a little bit different, but we're not getting onto that right now. I'm just going to grab this silver because I can. Perfect. Sorted. Absolutely sorted. Right. I want to get inside because I don't know how long we've got left before this storm hits, and I don't want to be outside when it does. Like I said in the previous episode, you can be outside. It's not going to kill you. It's just not a very pleasant experience.
Filter low.
Oh, thank you, sweet lady. She just said filter low. In episode 1, I mentioned that obviously we have our suit and we have these filter slots. Now, I can't remember if I went through what they do, but we'll go through it again. You have an oxygen tank. You breathe in oxygen, and being a human, you exhale CO2 with probably trace amounts of oxygen. The CO2 filters remove the CO2 from your suit and put it into the waste tank. If all 3 of your CO2 filters hit 0%, you are no longer filtering CO2. At which point, you are going to slowly, well, it doesn't actually happen, but in theory, you will breathe in the oxygen, exhale CO2. The CO2 isn't going anywhere, so you start breathing oxygen, you start breathing in CO2, you'll eventually pass out. So you need to keep an eye on these filters. If you need to replace them, go into the pipe vendor, search for filter, and the CO2 one is right at the top. Later, you can make medium filters and also large filters. But as you can see, you need silver and constantan. We haven't got constantan yet, so we're just going to go straight for the normal ones. I'm going to grab some of my iron, and let's get a filter made. The filters run left to right. So you can see we use this one, so now we move on to this one. If ever you're replacing a single filter, move whatever you've used to the left, then the next full one to the middle, replace the last filter. The empty filter, just throw it into Mars. Right. the storm's going to happen at some point. Now I'm contemplating whether I go out and try and make the alloys. I think I probably will. So let's take this mining belt, because this is what has our ice in it. So, hang on, I need that other mining belt because it's got my other ores in it. So put my glass in there, put that in there. Alright, so we know we've got 3 ingots that we want to make. If we go back to the home page, we can see that they are going to be constantum, electrum, solder. Now, we know that solder is the coldest, so we might as well leave that till last. Electrum is the next hottest, followed by constantum. We may make some invar in a second. We might do, but we'll see how this goes. Actually, you know what? We could do invar. We could smash invar out, I think, pretty easy. So we need, for invar, we need lead and nickel, which we have plenty of. So let's head outside. Make sure there's nothing on the floor in here. If there is, then we need to make sure, oh, flares. Then we need to make sure we close the door behind us. I mean, we're going to do that anyway. Head over to our furnace. Close the valve. Now, at the moment, we have nothing in there, really. It's just Mars atmosphere. It's not going to help you do anything. Chuck in a couple of volatile. And chuck in an oxide. And all this is going to do is get it going. Okay. Now, chuck in your lead. Was it lead? Yeah, chuck in your lead. And your iron. I'm going to go grab one of my iron ingot stacks. Okay, those two are mixing. Now you can see that the invar needs over 1.2k. Yeah? We have the temperature. What we don't have is the pressure. So what we're going to do is we're going to just whack in some more volatile. And I'm going to go over the top. I'm going to put 8 volatile, 4 oxide. And we're just going to smash that. Now what you can see is that the pressure's coming up. We need to get to 18 megapascal. But at the same time, the temperature is also going up. And the temperature does not want to be above 1.5 kilokelvin. As you can see there, we're pretty much knackering it. We've gone way too hot. Still not got enough pressure. Is what it is. What we can do is let's try and do a bit of off-gassing. So I'm going to eject my reagent. Don't forget, that isn't a waste. We know what that is. We can still use it. And I'm just going to chuck in some lead. No, I'm not. I'm going to chuck in some nickel. Ores off gas. So the nickel is off gassing into my furnace. And if I pause this and search for nickel, what it is doing is it is off gassing CO2, pollutant, and nitrogen into the furnace. Those gases are coming out. They are increasing the pressure, but they don't come out at the temperature the furnace already is. They come out much colder, so they are cooling the furnace down. So that is how we can bring this temperature down. So what we could potentially do, actually, is because we've got in the furnace, the pressure's fine, the temperature's still too hot. Let's make one of the other alloys and potentially try and bring down the temperature so we can make invar. The next closest thing is going to be constantum, but we haven't got the pressure, so we can't do constantum. Can we do electrum? No, we're still too high on the pressure. Can we do solder? No, we're still too hot on there. So the alloys are out of the question. If I want to bring this temperature down, stick an ingot in. That ingot requires temperature in order to be melted. And it's just reproducing my nickel for me. But we are losing temperature and pressure. Now the storm has hit. So if you continue to do that, make sure you're capturing your ingot, otherwise the storm will take it. It will blow away. I can see there, look, the temperature's coming down. The storm is cooling this down for us. We look at Invar, we need 18 to 20 megapascal. We haven't got enough pressure, which is a shame. So I'm going to just chuck in. I'm going to chuck in this nickel ingot. Sorry, nickel ore. That's not going to increase the pressure enough, which is a shame. No, my nickel. Ah, that guy is gone. Unless it fell into this hole. I don't think it did. We're probably never going to see that nickel ingot again. So yeah, storms are a dangerous thing to be in the early game anyway. It's not going to kill me, but it is going to make me lose stuff. There's no nice way of kind of dealing with this. So I'm going to go inside for now. And what I'm going to do is get an iron frame and some iron sheets. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the iron frame to the side of the furnace. Because what will happen is the furnace will kick out the ingot, but the ingot will just hug the wall. Don't you have to weld it all the way up? That'll do. So now how are we looking? Our temperature is knackered. Our pressure is knackered. So we're probably going to want to wait until the storm's over before we do Invar. However, if we have a look at Constantin, we can see we need high pressure. So you know what? Screw it. Let's have another play. Let's put some more oxide in. I'm going to go 6 oxide. And I'm going to go 12 volatile. Why those amounts? No reason. You can see there now that is going to massively increase the pressure and the temperature. Massive, 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 massive. Constantin, we can probably make in that. I'm just a bit conscious that that furnace is going to blow up. If that happens, hey, at least you see what happens. For Constantin, we need copper and nickel. Let me go get some copper and hope the furnace is still there when I get back. I've got a sack of copper. So we're going to stick that in. That is going to reduce the temperature in there. And then we wanted nickel, we said, didn't we? I think we've got that. There we go. The light is green. Hit the lever. There's my Constantin. Got it. 100 grams. We've made our second alloy. Next, I wonder if we can try and get the Invar made, because we've got a large amount of pressure in there. So let's put our Invar reagent back in. The good thing about reagent is because it's come out of the furnace, it's already degassed. It will have no effect on your furnace, which is obviously very nice. The temperature we're happy with. The pressure, not so much. But what we can do is we can manually use our valve to try and remove some of that pressure. We need to get it down below 20 megapascal. So I'm going to stand over here. I'm going to open this valve, close the valve. Check the furnace. We got down to 32. Let's leave it open for a second. We can see it now going down quite quickly. We need that to get to 20. So once it gets to about 21, I'm probably going to close that valve. The temperature needs to stay above 1.2. I would slow this down a little bit, but I can't. You're going to have to be a little bit kind of quick, but you kind of know what you're after here. You've got to get it above what you need and then work on removing some of it afterwards. It's probably the easiest way of doing it. I've closed the valve and you can see it's still losing a bit of pressure, but that's because the gas is going into the pipe. We're slightly over. Let's release some more pressure. Close it instantly. We've got the green light. Why have we not got the green light? Iron and nickel. What is in there? Oh no! I've done it wrong. We had the perfect pressure and temperature, but I made the wrong reagent. We've done iron and lead. We've messed that up. See, I'm not perfect. I'm not an expert by a long shot. That reagent is going to have to go away, and we'll have to sort that out later. That is a real shame. But let's chuck that back in there. We need iron and nickel. I've got iron. I don't have any nickel. The bit of nickel that I did have. Oh no, I've got nickel. Let's go and try this again. But what I'm trying to show you here is, like, if I wanted to, I could have very easily Googled exactly what you need to put in, how much ice you need to put in, and you'd be good. But just have a play, just wing it. Obviously don't wing it too much, make sure you put in the right bloody ores in, or right ingots. But just have a play until you get it right. I mean, I might still be able to get this. We got it. There we go. By chance we got it, because we had the temperature and the pressure required just. So it's not a complete failure. So, we've got our invar. We have our constantin, and we've already made steel. The next two, easy peasy. The electrum is really easy. We need just a low temperature and a low pressure. Our pressure is a little bit high. Our temperature is absolutely fine. So all I want to do is remove some of the pressure. And then on the solder requires slightly higher pressure than the electrum. So I think what we're going to make the electrum first because of the temperature issue. So this is gold and silver. So let's chuck some silver in. One thing you have to be conscious of as well is that certain gases will release certain ores will release gas into your furnace that can cause combustion. So you could potentially put an ore in here, such as gold or lead, which will off gas, and if you have volatile in there, your furnace will get hotter. So just be very mindful of that. Just be prepared for any kind of spikes in temperature or pressure in there that you weren't expecting. So for the electrum, we can see that we want a pressure of no more than 2.4 MPa, but the temperature just needs to be above 327 degrees C. The only issue in here is the pressure. Let's get rid of that pressure. We want to bring this down to 2.4 because that will give us enough pressure in there to then make our solder. So we're just going to bear with this. It's not going to take too long by the looks of it. So once it gets to about 3 megapascal, I will close that valve. And we should have electrum. I'm not going to hide it, so you can see exactly what we're doing. So you see that I'm not skipping anything, I'm not missing, I'm not spawning anything in. I am just going to sit here and wait. The storm is over, which means we've got to go and do some maintenance in a second. But let me just get this electrum out of here. Almost done. Right, I'm going to close the valve. And I'm just going to open it a little bit more. Close it. Press the lever because the button went green. We have our electrum. Boom. Before we make the solder, I want to go and show you something. Our solar panels have damage. Okay. As you can see, we require duct tape and glass sheets, or Mark II duct tape and Stellite glass sheets to repair it. So let me go and get those, and I'll show you how we can repair, and then I'll show you a cheesy way of doing it, just for, you know, people who don't want to have to use materials to repair stuff. I'm pretty sure I chucked duct tape in the greenhouse. I'm probably wrong. You definitely start with... Oh, there's duct tape there. I got duct tape. And then we want to go and get some glass sheets, which we have in here. Oh, look at our batteries, by the way. The storm hasn't filled them up, but then we didn't have many wind turbines. But we should be good for a little while now. So, go to your solar panel with the glass sheet in your hand and hold left click to patch it. This is going to take a second. There we go. That is now repaired. We're getting full 48% efficiency, but that's because of the sun. We can do it again. So get my glass sheet, repair the next one. It doesn't actually use your duct tape. I think you can use duct tape itself actually instead of using glass. Let me have a look at that. Oh yeah, so you can use either duct tape or glass. I thought it was using both, but it wasn't. That's all well and good. But what if you don't want to use these materials? Well, you can cheese it. If I just chuck this glass on the floor for a second. Get out your crowbar. Deconstruct the solar panel. And then get your drill. Deconstruct the solar panel. And then put it back. When you do that, the solar panel is not damaged. That is fully repaired. Yes, that isn't the way it's meant to be. Obviously the game wants you to repair them. But as a new player, I think they'll let you off. Like, you can do this and not have to use resources. Hell, I still do this. To be honest, repairing the solar panels just now is the first time I've ever done that. And that's because I'm showing you, fine folk. I do plan on playing a little bit different though going forward. So once the update comes out, I'm going to be trying to repair as opposed to deconstruct. Just a personal choice there, really. No other reason. Just to mix it up a little bit, so I'm not always doing the same thing, the same cheesy stuff. But as a new player, I give you that cheese as a gift. Let me just get all these orientated a little bit this way. There we go. Not perfect, but better than nothing. Oh, you also need to repair the flat ones as well. But by repair, I mean deconstruct and put it back. You're welcome. Let me put this glass in here. We can leave this door open now. Now that we've had a storm, we're probably going to be good for the next 11 days. So don't even need to think about that right now. The last ingot we want is solder, which is just iron and lead. Oh, we got our reagent, didn't we? We didn't waste it. We can use this still. Boom. See, I know what I'm doing. To a degree. So, the temperature in there is currently way too hot for solder. We need 277 degrees C. But, go and get your steel. This might work with all alloys, but I've only ever do it with steel because I find steel is more effective. And go and run steel through your furnace. Open the lever, put the steel in. Ingots require heat to be processed, even if they've already been processed. So by putting steel in there, I drastically reduce the temperature in there. Massively. And now you can see that we have the temperature required to produce our solder. I'm going to close the lever. As you can see there, making solder. We're going to get this reagent mix. Put that in there as well. And we're going to have 100 gram of lovely, jubbly solder. There we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We now have access to all 5 basic alloys, which opens up your world at this point. So let's put all of these in. Obviously, we don't need Invar, so I don't need to put Invar in there right now. We'll just stick Invar in my locker. And let's get our first mod made. Ta-da! Once we've made that mod, we'll have access to make the mods for the other printers, We will at that point also make the tool printer, at which point we'll be able to make a better drill, we'll be able to make a better welder, we'll be able to make our better tool belts. We will be in a very, very good position. We've currently got power sorted, which is nice. I mean, to be fair, we could have got this sorted out way before now, but hey ho. We've made all the alloys, and we've just survived our first storm and collected a lot of the storm power, which would keep us going for a long time. Well, long enough. So, I'm going to call it there. Slightly longer video, and a little bit more full on than what the other ones have been. The alloys require a little bit of work in order to get them, so it's not something that I could really go through too slowly. But I'm more than sure you could look online, look at the Stationeers wiki, look at the Discord. Somebody will be able to tell you the exact amount of ices you need to produce those alloys without failure. If you want to do it my way, just chuck in your ices. If the pressure is too high, remove some of the pressure using this system. If the temperature is too high, just chuck in an ingot and let the ingot remove some of that temperature for you. If it's not hot enough, or there's not enough pressure, chuck in some more ice. Or chuck in a ore that degasses something that will combust with what you have in the furnace. So, for example, if your furnace, so you could use your tablet for this. If your furnace there, look, you can see that we have some nitrous oxide and some oxygen in there. So if I was to put in a volatile ice, or an ore that off-gas volatile, that would create combustion and it would increase my heat. I don't have to add the oxide and the volatile. Works the other way. If we still had volatile left in the furnace, then I could just put a bit of oxide in there, or put something in such as gold that contains oxygen. And he says that as if he knows. Yes, I could put some gold in that contains oxygen, and that would also create combustion automatically. Assuming the temperature of the furnace is above 300 degrees C. Anything lower than that and it will not auto combust. All that means is you just got to press the button. That's all you got to do. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So we did power, we did solar panels, we did repairing of solar panels, we did alloys, and we've got our first mod printing. And we did batteries. We survived our first storm. We did a lot in an hour. Okay, to people who are kind of been playing the game for a long time, it's not a lot. Obviously, they've got experience. They know what they're doing. But for a new play, if you've made it this far and you're still enjoying the game, then that's amazing. So I'm going to end this episode by upgrading this printer. There we go. How does this one work? We'll go through that next time. So thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. Enjoy playing Stationeers. Bye.